What's going on, guys? Bobby with Consumer Time Capsule, back with the 22nd volume of the CTC Lightning Round, where every Friday we take a look at 8 new products hitting grocery store shelves right now. On today's volume, we'll be looking at Golden Grahams S'mores Bites, Eggo, thick and fluffy French toast. We got 3 different varieties of Zapps frozen appetizers, Voodoo battered fried pickles, Boudin balls, and jalapeno peppers. Then we got 2 varieties of Pillsbury Crescents that are kind of filled with fruit filling. So we have apple and cherry, and then we have one of the varieties of Jimmy Dean Biscuit Rollups. So for those of you new to the lightning round, in a second, Ryan and I are going to be turning off the cameras. We're going to try all 8 of these new products, and when we come back, we're going to be ranking from worst to first all 8 of these products in terms of their taste, and along the way, assigning every product a Gimmick Grade, so you know just how interesting all this new stuff is. So give us a second, and we'll be right back. And we're back, and coming in at 8th place, last place on today's Capsule Countdown, are the new Golden Grahams S'mores Bites. Now, look, I love the idea of taking a cereal, making it into a weird donut hole kind of thing, putting it in a frozen food section, and letting me collect the box. Cinnamon Toast Crunch did this about 2.5 years ago, but kind of like with a similar approach where they just filled it with like cinnamon sugar or something. This one, you know, you had to get a little bit more inventive with the flavors because Golden Grahams in and of itself is just graham and honey flavored. So they did the s'mores thing. S'mores thing's kind of been done to death, but there are these little like pillowy sort of balls with chocolate and marshmallow. And here's what I will say. Look, if you like, I mean, it's $5 at Walmart, so it's a little bit steep, but if you like very sweet chocolate and marshmallow, then you're probably really going to like this. It definitely, every taste is very distinctive in it. You know, it's not like I'm saying it's not great because it missed the mark in terms of flavor. It actually maybe over presented its flavors. It's just a bit too sweet, bit too sugary. Really not something I could imagine eating more than a couple of in a single sitting. So you got to count off a lot for that. But as far as the gimmick, look, I mean, you got a cereal tie-in, you got something interesting, something that there's no like reasonable facsimile product that you could go ahead and make at home. So I'm going to give the gimmick an 8 out of 10, but I'm going to give the taste 8th place on today's Capsule Countdown and a 3 out of 10.
The breading was also pretty bland.
It was pretty bland. That said, we did microwave instead of oven it, so we don't know exactly kind of what that flavor, how that would change by longer cook time. So I'm not counting off too much for the breading as much as I am for the filling. Yeah. Okay, just too sweet. Anyway, coming in at 7th place, it's the Eggo thick and fluffy French toast. So this is classic extra thick French toast, as they call it. And this was $2.97 at H-E-B. And look, I gotta tell you, I like the idea of toaster-oriented Eggo French toast. I think it's a great idea. I know they've kind of flirted with that idea in years past, but this is the first time where it's really like a big, thick piece of French toast to put in a toaster. But it is pretty similar of a gimmick to the waffle approach, that the packaging is really not all that great, all that special. So I'm going to go ahead and give the gimmick a 3 out of 10. As far as the taste goes, I hope you don't like cinnamon on your French toast. I hope you don't like nutmeg on it. I hope you don't like it tasting very eggy, because this just tastes like a kind of stale piece of toast. Yeah. It's really just not very flavorful at all. I don't know. My mom was in love with it. I don't know why.
It's a fine starting point.
It's an okay starting point. You start, drenching it in butter and maple syrup, and it's probably a bit more presentable, but it's a 4 out of 10 out of the box, and that's how we're going to judge it. So it's 7th place on today's Capsule Countdown. All right, and getting into 6th place, we have got Biscuit Rollups from Jimmy Dean. Now, this does come in 3 different varieties. It was $3.99 at H-E-B. We got the ham, egg, and cheese because it sounded the best to me, but they do also make sausage or bacon, egg and cheese as well. I'm more of a ham guy given those options, so we got that. Man, can't fight that gimmick though. I like the idea of like a rolled up biscuit. I don't know, I think it's a pretty good gimmick. You know, like a rolled up biscuit, like a to-go biscuit with egg and ingredient and stuff. Never seen anything like it, so I'm gonna give the gimmick a 6 out of 10. And the taste is really solid too, so I'm gonna double 6 out of 10 it. You know, for something that's oven baked, you know, it's fairly low, time investment. It tastes okay. It tastes pretty good. The thing is with frozen eggs, it's never the same as like a fresh cracked egg. You know, I mean, the ham and the cheese and the bread, you can kind of get away with it, but you can't fake fresh eggs. And that's unfortunate, because if you could, that would elevate this past that 6 out of 10 level. So, all right, so 5th place on today's Capsule Countdown as we're approaching that midway point. Don't let the grade fool you, because this is a pretty solid product. It is the Pillsbury filled Crescents, $2.97 at Walmart. And so basically, these are little kits with regular crescent rolls, and then you fill it with an apple filling and you cover it with an icing. So it's a little bit like a toaster strudel for crescent rolls, you know? Inside, you can see kind of that apple cinnamon filling. And then on top, you got lines of the icing. Real tasty. It's got a good balance of apple and cinnamon. I wouldn't say that it really steals the flavor profile from a regular crescent roll. That's pretty neat. As far as the gimmick goes, look, a toaster strudel crescent roll, I'm all about it. I'm going to give the gimmick an 8 out of 10. That goes for both flavors. As far as the taste, I did prefer the cherry, and I really didn't expect to prefer the cherry. I think the apple underperformed in the sense that cherry showed me what was possible, but it met my exact expectations from, you know, what I came in expecting the flavor to be, which is a really solid, tasty thing that they should be kind of proud of. So I'm gonna give the taste score 7 out of 10. 5th place on today's Capsule Countdown. All right. Next, we have got the second of the varieties for the filled crescents. This is the cherry one. And like with the other one, I got to give the gimmick an 8 out of 10. Really love the idea of a some assembly required kit of crescent roll dessert. This is what it looks like. And inside the regular crescent roll, you've got some cherry. The cherry flavor is delicious. Pillsbury really knows how to make good cherry flavored stuff. And it's tough. It's a tough row to hoe. We don't really tend to like many cherry-oriented products, but this is one very well executed. I'm giving it a 7.5 out of 10 and 4th place on today's Capsule Countdown. What you think about that, Ryan?
Oh, definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Surprisingly good.
And you know what's funny? We did all this cooking and all that stuff, and Zapps won the gold, silver, and bronze medal. Coming in at 3rd, this one's a little bit of an upset. It's the Boudin balls. It's Cajun-style sausage and rice fritter balls. And, you know, anybody who's been to New Orleans or any Cajun restaurant probably has tried Boudin balls. One thing I will say about these is that they're not very crispy and crunchy on the outside like a typical Boudin ball would be. They're much smaller than a typical Boudin ball. It really, a lot of the flavor that you're getting is actually the outer coating. Good news is the outer coating is pretty delicious. And, you know, so it is an underperforming Boudin ball, but a well-performing frozen appetizer to go get at Walmart for $4.76 for a big old box. So go ahead and eat that, Ryan. As far as the Gimmick Grade of a line of frozen Zapps appetizers, I absolutely love it. I love the packaging. Looks great. I love it when brands do things that you don't expect them to do, and certainly I never expected Zapps frozen anything, so I'm giving the gimmick a 9 out of 10. Ryan, you're about to say something.
I noticed it said Cajun Crawd Tater on the outside of the
Well,
box. I've never had those.
It says it's made, oh, that's their signature chip. Are you sure you haven't had it?
I've never had it. I don't like seafood.
It doesn't really taste like...
It
doesn't really taste like Old Bay or anything, which is really what a Cajun Crawd Tater is kind of designed to taste like on the outside. For me, I consider that a little bit of a negative, but apparently that's not.
That would scare me away.
It would scare you away, but really, if you're not into that kind of Old Bay sort of spice, I wouldn't fear, because it's actually pretty
generic.
Pretty generic, yeah. But definitely, look, as far as a frozen appetizer goes, 7.5 out of 10 all day, and third place on today's Capsule Countdown.
Damn good.
Here's another one where they did an amazing job, but not perfect. So it's the Zapps Pimento Cheese Stuffed Jalapeno Peppers. These also were $4.76 at Walmart, also giving it a 9 out of 10 for an amazing box and a great concept. It's made with Palmetto brand pimento cheese and Zapps Hotter and Hot flavored potato chips, but you don't really get a big potato chip vibe. I was expecting like a crunchy, kind of smattering of Zapps in the batter, but really it's just a decent batter.
Yeah.
It's not very spicy. The jalapenos are actually just half jalapenos. It's just jalapeno bottoms with a little bit of pimento cheese on the inside. So it's not very spicy. If what's scaring you away is the spice, I wouldn't fear. But it is extremely tasty, very poppable. I could eat an entire box of this stuff. Love the taste. I mean, it's tough to not give them an 8.5 out of 10. I wish it was spicier. It could have gone higher. Yeah. But for a frozen appetizer, really well executed, but not as well executed as the winner today on the Capsule Countdown. It is somehow, I'm not even into fried pickles. Really? But it is, I am not into fried pickles. But it is the Voodoo Battered Zapps Fried Pickle Chips. So these have a really smooth batter on the outside and a very vinegary pickle on the inside, which is very much to my liking. They use those Voodoo, kettle potato chips in the batter, supposedly.
Which are pretty vinegary. Have you had those?
I've had them, but also they've got a good spice to them, and these don't really reflect much of that spice.
True.
But the vinegriness is absolutely delicious. And they're not greasy, like if you go to like a sports bar or something and get an order of fried pickles. They tend to be very battery. They tend to be very greasy. They tend to mask a lot of the pickle flavor. Pickle is the star. The batter is a background player. It's not greasy. It's tasty. This is another one where you could eat a whole box of it really without even trying. Very tasty. 9 out of 10. First place on today's Capsule Countdown. That makes it a double 9 out of 10 because the 9 out of 10 Gimmick Grade, great box, great concept. Just a well-executed product altogether. One I'm very happy that we got a chance to try. But as is tradition here on the CTC Lightning Round Review, we open up the Capsule Archives every Friday to show you something from our classic product collection. And this one is something special, something that I've actually had requested a few times. It's AIDS! We got AIDS! So, AIDS was in the 70s and 80s a kind of a weight loss plan candy. And you may have seen the commercial that I've included in the Consumer Time Capsule YouTube channel, but as many versions have been online for many, many years. The I lost weight on AIDS thing, like right at the height of the kind of AIDS scare of the 80s. Of course, this is spelled AIDS, right. So they were first to market, but not very good for branding to have your product name AIDS and talk about the weight loss associated with it. Hilariously named product, just kind of, AIDS is not funny, but really, I mean, you gotta, even the most stuffy person's got to give it up. Like that's kind of good. That's kind of good.
So weight loss chocolate, brilliant.
Weight loss chocolate, brilliant idea. It's still something that I think some brands flirt with, but AIDS was really the first to do it. This is one of the oldest packages from my collection. It's like an early 70s piece, but by the design, you could tell me this is from the freaking 40s. Like the leap from like 1975 to 1985 to 1995 in product design. Oh my God, it's like a whole nother light year. But so A few folks have asked me if I have aids in my collection, and I do have aids. I have aids, so this is my aids, and I wanted to show it to you guys. So now that I've made all of the hacky layup jokes that I could, of course, tune in on Tuesday for the next volume of the CTC review, and then again next Friday for 8 more brand new products hitting grocery store shelves right now. And of course, until next time, I will miss ya until I see ya, and I'm gonna eat some fried pickles and enjoy them for one of the few times in my life. Cheers.